One thing the pedagogue Stanley Ritchie was really pushing when I was at Indiana was when you're playing solo Bach, and specifically solo Bach. This doesn't really apply for anything else. Um, really, just for solo works. Is starting the bass note of a chord, something that can't be sort of fit into a slice of time evenly because technically it's, you have to roll the strings or something like that. There's much going on. So what he was suggesting is to play the bass of the pedal note on the beat instead of playing an appoggiatura and landing the last note, the high note, on the beat. So I think perhaps coming from more of a concerto sound where you have an orchestra pumping in the background and you have to fit in a chord, you would want your, I don't have an example, but you'd want your final note to be in sync perhaps with the beat. So perhaps there's a beat, a pulse, 2, 3, landing on that note so you can stay with the orchestra, or an ensemble that's kind of immutable would be the approach. Now, Stanley Ritchie was suggesting quite the opposite, where the pedal note, when you're playing jazz Bach, you're in control of because you're the instrumentalist. So you want to do your best to sort of place the pedal note on the beat and be out of time for the rest of that chord. So let me just play a little bit. So I'll play it with the appoggiatura way, sort of incorrectly, and then I'll talk a little bit and then go back to perhaps the Ricci way of doing it. So that's actually the Ricci way. I'm sorry, I got confused. So I was trying to place the pedal notes on the beat as much as possible. So let's do that with sort of the other way, which is playing it in the appoggiatura way. I'm not used to it. So I'm trying to get to those top notes basically on the beat. And actually, I like the sound of that, but there is something that a violinist is almost favors those upper notes. So we just play so much of this timbre that the bass doesn't really resonate as much with us as the treble part of the instrument. But when you're a listener, it's really the bass that makes an impact. This really shakes people's listening. So it is something that people pick up on more naturally. So let's play another section. Or how about from another piece? Something that has to be rolled a lot is the adagio from the C major sonata. So that's the appoggiatory way, where I'm landing on it's. That's perhaps the way that might sound okay if you were playing just that line and you had an ensemble. But since we're in charge of all the notes, we have to make some sacrifices. So here is the Ricci way of playing it. I'm really trying to place that pedal note on the beat. And then what happens is we have to make time. You can't just tastefully combine the rest of that chord, all those downbeat chords, in whatever it is, a quarter note or an eighth note. Can't remember exactly how it's notated. We have to make room. So what happens is we're in charge of placing those those beats, and then getting out of time, basically making room technically so it's possible. So it's just something to think about. He was really or he is. I don't think he's not past. He's an old man, but he's not past. Um, he really champions this as the way to attack the timing of Bach. It really comes from a thesis that uh, the the solo Bach are really just a piece of chamber music for one instrument. He doesn't say that. Um, that's my interpretation of it. But it's a piece of chamber music. So as if you were playing with other instruments, and pedal note. There's this sort of bass continuo that's going throughout most of all the passage work in Bach, and you have to treat it as if you're playing with passo continuo, and what would you do in that case? Like, well, you would that would be the leader. That's sort of like the heartbeat of your group. So it's something to think about. It's not the most natural thing, but once you sort of know how to fall out of time tastefully, I kind of like it, and I've been doing that for several years now. But hopefully, I conveyed exactly what Ritchie was talking about, how the appoggiatura way is quite different, and some of the trade-offs with those two approaches.